Okay, good morning. This is lecture 10, week 11, and there will be no more programming stuff. And today we will discuss about project management. Okay. So what do you think? How this is related to you guys? We are discussing about application development. We discussed how to develop softwares. We looked at PHP, ASP.NET.
Most of them done in a project management situation.
Can you elaborate what sort of situation is this? What's the setting? So in businesses, basically, you might be working for a certain organization using ASP.NET. You might be developing an application, but you would be a part of a team who is supposed to deliver a product. Okay, and project management basically helps you in order to deliver that product in time with desired quality the client is expecting. So in that regard, basically it will give you a prospect on what is expecting from you, how you can contribute to successful delivery of the software. But when we say management, what does it mean? We use management a lot. Nowadays we have diet management, health management, information system management. Of course, so what does management tells us? What does it involve?
Control.
Control is one thing.
Yeah.
What else?
Control the project in a documented.
Controlling, how you can control, if you can document, you can through document give you insights and you can better control. What else? So this is one thing in the management. Planning. You start with planning. You have to plan what you're going to do. Okay. So planning is the starting step. Then you start documenting the thing, and that documentation, email exchange, information you put on portal provides you insights to how to move further. So you monitor the information, you control the processes and so on, and you organize stuff so that eventually you can measure it. If you're not able to measure, you cannot tell where you are standing. So it's planning, then organizing, controlling, monitoring, measuring, that eventually help you to deliver something. Okay, and we all know project managers independent of any domain, any discipline. Okay. So in today's lecture we will learn about project management, and the objectives we want to achieve today is to understand the growing need for project management. Okay, especially our concerns with information technology projects. We will look at what is project, what are the important attributes of the project, and what are the triple constraints in which project has to get completed. So being a project manager or being a part of a team, you need to know these concepts. We will also look at, we will try to describe what is project management. We will look at project management framework and how it helps the people, the organizations to better manage their projects. We will also discuss the relationship between project, program and portfolio, how these are related with each other, and how each of them basically helps the organization in increasing their revenue, capturing greater market share and so on. We will also try to understand the role of project manager, what they do, what sort of skills they need to acquire during their career development, and especially we look at what is being expected from a project manager who is involved in IT projects. Okay, what do you think? Project management existed a few decades ago, or it's just a new phenomenon? Yeah, it has been a while. Any example in your mind? Military is the best example.
NASA?
Since NASA, again, military is the best example. Since the beginning of humans, military is always involved in scheduling, planning, capture the information, present to the journals, and the journals then make decisions. So scheduling, managing the assets. Assets could be physical assets, humans, food, ration, all that stuff. So in military, it was already embedded over there. But in businesses until 1980, organizations basically put more attention to project management. Okay, and why they basically put more emphasis on recognizing project management as a discipline rather than traditionally it was ad hoc activity. If there's a mechanical engineer, military and construction. These were two industries where scheduling and management resources was done a lot. But over there was no well-defined role for project manager. If there's a mechanical engineer who is responsible for construction, then he would be doing the scheduling and other stuff, and he would be providing information to the clients, and they would be deciding all the stuff. So there was not well-defined role, especially in case of, we can also take example for software engineering. There was no well-defined role for tester before a decade ago. The developer was a tester. Now we have quality assurance people who are specialized in their areas as well. Someone is specialized on enterprise level applications. Someone is specialized in Amazon Web Services and so on. So you see, the roles are getting more specialized as we progress in technologies and progress in time. So that led organization, and many projects failed because it was not recognized as a well-defined discipline, and people were using ad hoc approaches. Our developers were testing the application. Engineers were doing all the project management stuff. So project failed, and I have few figures which I will show you on screen, that majority of projects failed. Even they did not able to start in order to deliver their objectives. And another factor that contribute to the complexity of managing these projects is working environment. Working environment has changed a lot. Traditionally, 3 decades ago, things were localized. Okay, within a certain locality, producer was producing something, consumer was consuming something. Projects were very much localized in nature. People knew each other. They were collaborating with each other. But now we see that because of internet, things are globally now. An organization sitting in China is doing business all around the world, and a team who is managing a project may be distributed in nature. Someone is sitting in USA, someone is in Europe, someone in Australia, and they are collaborating with each other in order to manage few projects. Okay, so the environment is getting complex. That again put pressure on projects, and projects manager are the one who have to deliver in such complex environment. That's again the role of environment over here is to put constraints on the projects under which they have to work, and people come up with new ideas, new roles, and so on. That's why organizations are more interested in project management, acquiring those skills, and so on. Organizations are spending a lot amount of money on their projects. On next couple of slides, we see that project is not something which organizations do on day-to-day basis. These are some specialized tasks organization wants to do in order to improve their productivity, in order to adventure on some maybe developing new product and so on. About 25% of the money which they of total money which they spend on products, 25% basically they spend on these projects. R&D projects, for example, you know, all big organizations they do on continuous basis, and they put a lot of money over there, more than 25 maybe, it's 40%. Technology oriented company. So big chunk of money goes to projects, their management. And today especially project management is well defined discipline. There was a time, I can give you example of academia, there was a time there was a master degree or undergraduate degree in computer science only. Then IT came, master in IT. And nowadays we have master of cyber security. So similarly in case of project management, previously there was project manager was defined a person who will do all the tasks. Then we have project coordinator, and now we have project integrator, analyst, and so on. So it is well defined discipline. People are doing degrees in this certification. There are standards that organizations follow, and so on. So a big chunk of people, around more than 60 million people, are associated with this industry of project management. So what is a project? As I mentioned, project is not something which organizations do on day-to-day basis. Can you give me some examples of projects which you may have worked on? Especially the people who worked in industry. Any one of you? Did you?
No, I only go up and I don't become a project anymore.
But you're working on certain projects.
Oh,
So
now,
project is something,
yes.
yeah, project is something which is not day-to-day operation. Okay, for example, there is a company who is retailer, for example, selling the products, and retailer has to compete with another retailer. They have to compete among the retail industry. So in order to increase their sale, they may launch a project how to increase the sale, and in that project they can do study of maybe technologies, and they may decide, okay, we need to bring in an online portal. So this is a project which they launch in order to increase their income, to increase their revenue and compete. And in order to do that project, they basically put some money over, they invested some money over there, and at the end they came up with a decision that the outcome of project is you need to do this, and that resulted into another project which is software development. So operation is something day-to-day activity, the selling of products the retailers are doing, for example, where a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create something unique, create unique value for the organization, and that value may come from product or maybe from service given to the customer. So this is a temporary endeavor. This is not something permanent. Okay, or all the R&D projects which these big giants are doing, they have some goals to achieve. When they achieve the goal, that project leads to another project. That's why R&D is continuously going process. So we have to understand difference between operation and project. And project starts, and we define the objectives. When objectives are achieved, we say project finishes, and from the outcome of that project, insights are given to the higher management, and then they do further decision making. And the nature of projects vary from discipline to discipline, from industry to industry. For some projects could be small, whereas for enterprises, project may be of a very humongous scale. So project attributes. So as I mentioned, each of the projects are temporary, and each project has some unique role. So these are the attributes of the project. What do you think in addition to these two are the attributes of the project? What else project involved? Resources. Okay, that's another important part of a project which you can call as project attribute. Resources are the one that will be used in order to achieve the objective. And one of the attributes of project is that it develops in progressive fashion. It's not like that you start your project and then you would have each and everything on first day. You will start with minimal information, and on that information you do iterative planning process, organization process, organization of resources and so on, and you come up with a well-defined plan, and once you have a detailed plan, you go for its execution. So this is the way we discuss in programming. You start with, for example, like a system analysis, you start with use cases, and then you go in developing your logic, and eventually you have a software. But in between you have various deliverables. Similarly, in project management, each project starts with very basic information, maybe one paragraph that outlines what we need to achieve, what are the objectives, and what outcome is expected. Okay, what inputs you can have, this is the budget and so on. So you have to start broadly, and then you with minimum information, and then you narrow down to specific details. And it requires resources like people may be technical people, specialized people who, for example, specialize in coordinating meetings, who understand the maybe domain experts in certain cases, hardware, software, and other assets, maybe logistical assets to execute the project. And in each and every project there will be a sponsor who basically putting in money, who is investing, and that's also we need to consider as an important attribute of a project. And one other attribute of a project is that it involves uncertainty. Okay, uncertainty we discussed comes from environment as well. Okay, technology is changing. What other factors can you think of that basically contributes to uncertainty in a certain project? It's a novel project, and you don't have existing experience that you can reuse, so that also brings in a lot of uncertainty. So higher risk, higher return. Okay, that's sometimes some factors are not in your control. For example, if you are a manufacturer and your supplies depend upon 5 suppliers, and out of 5 maybe 2 something happened to them, maybe union over there do a strike. Okay, so that's not in your control. It will disturb your schedule, all the processes which you have schedules you have defined in order to do your production. Your production schedule in short will be disturbed. So there are some external factors that are not in your control. You are depending on third party to do some software development for you. You are developing the enterprise software and you lease some components to module to third party companies, okay, and they don't deliver it in time. So there are some factors that are not in your control, and they also bring uncertainty into project. Project itself, there is already uncertainty because you are trying to predict the future, what you require. So uncertainty already over there. But such scenario in which factors are not in your control, uncertainty increases. New technology come in. The technology which you identify for organization, is new technology come in. If competitors get that technology, you may capture the business. So projects are being managed by a person. It's called project manager. He is the one who if project is unsuccessful, will be blamed. He is not able to do it. And if it's successful, he is the one who basically get the praise. So project manager works with the project sponsor. So project manager or team lead, you can think of in software development, is the one who basically take the team together. He is the one who thinks strategically and make decisions. Okay. The related projects are grouped together as a program. Okay, and grouping them together is beneficial for organizations. What do you think? Why it's good to group together the related projects so the organization can benefit? I can give you an example of my school. Now, School of Science, previously they were different school. Now School of Science contain computing science, biological sciences, mathematical sciences, they group all them together. Why? Management is easy. Instead of those managing them individually as a school, and they will have their associate, dean and so on, and that definitely costs university. So they have merged together, and among various factors, one factor is to save the money. Another factor which they thought of, maybe if researchers are in the same school, they may collaborate. Computer science would doing something for biological sciences and so on. Okay, so that's another factor which we thought of. But again, when you group projects together which are related, you harvest a lot of benefits, and especially we will discuss today about portfolio management. When related projects are grouped together, the high manager get better insights. Okay, if for example, if we are doing procurement and we have 5 projects and procurement of, for example, computers, and we are establishing 5 labs in university. There are 5 separate projects maybe because of funded sponsor, maybe different sponsors, but the items is same. So instead of placing 5 procurement orders, we can place 1 procurement order, and because of economy of scale, we may get more advantage. So grouping projects together is called program, and programs are managed by again some higher the people in higher hierarchy of management, and they achieve certain advantages, and we will look at portfolio management. So these are the boss of project managers. So they get feedback from project managers, and then they see how the program is going. Okay. So what is project management? As I mentioned, it's all about planning, coordinating, organizing, measuring about the project, and it involves application of knowledge. What sort of knowledge do you think it involves? Knowledge of management, how to schedule the thing, how to manage the time, how to ensure quality is there. Have you heard of lean and agile strategy? Lean strategy was introduced by Japanese car, Toyota car production, and it was very lengthy process in car production, and they basically chopped down the process and identify what are the wastes in the process. So they basically came up with this lean methodology. So the knowledge of these methodologies, the knowledge of scheduling, the knowledge of risk management, the knowledge of human resource management. So the application of such knowledge, skills, people learn skills over a period of time. You cannot become project manager on first day. You have to go through a career trajectory, and then you will become a project manager. So skills, tools and techniques, no one knows better than us that how helpful tools are especially in decision support, decision making. To apply them to project activities to meet project requirements, project objectives. So making use of these knowledge, skills and tools and techniques to fulfill the objectives of the project, so that whatever was the objective the reason behind initiating that project, deliver the fruits to the organization. Okay, so and this PM book is very well-renowned book in project management, which basically outlines these basic concepts of project management, techniques, methodologies, and standard very well. Okay, and there is a whole body of project managers that is basically part of Project Management Institute in US, who basically behind this development of this PM book. So when we talk about project management, we need to take into account the constraints under which project work. We discuss various constraints, working environment, uncertainties, and so on. So this triple constraint is very famous and basically consists of goal, time, and cost. These are the three variables that basically have great impact on your project. And you can think of this delivery of project, quality of project, and so on. So these factors you have to take care of. You have to schedule the things so that you finish the project in time. You have to calculate how much finance you need in order to initiate the project, and then in order to run the project for so long, how much resources do you need. You have to schedule this, you have to calculate this as well. And keeping in these two in mind, you have to see whether you are able to fulfill the scope of the project or not. Will it expand the scope or not? So these are the three constraints you need to keep in mind when you're doing planning, organizing, monitoring, or measuring your deliverables in the project. And have you heard of moving target problem?
Sorry,
Moving target problem. This terminology is used when your scope is changing in software, especially in software industry. You started something, keeping okay, this is the boundary of your system, this is in the system, this is outside. But as you go in development, boundary changes. Few more entities come into the boundary, and now you have to think of those entities as well. How those entities will get incorporated, and it may change your business logic. It may change your model of your application. Okay, so and so on. So these are the three constraints which, if you are able to meet, whatever your scope initially defined, you are able to you are able to deliver within that scope, within the time, within the cost. Then theoretically you can say that okay, you meet the constraints and you deliver the project successfully. Okay. So these constraints basically we keep in mind. In reality, it's very unless a project is very small and you're doing it repeated fashion, it's very hard to meet all three constraints, especially in large scale projects. So it is expected that scope may change, cost may vary, and time we may spend more because of these projects involve uncertainty. So there is a threshold plus minus that each manager knows that this may happen, and they keep in they do share this information with the sponsor so that sponsor should know if we may spend more or maybe spend more time in order to deliver this. But theoretically, we have to keep and meet these constraints. Okay, why we care about IT projects management? Have you seen the YouTube video which I have uploaded on the web page? No? That basically outlines why projects fail. And in software engineering, if you have taken the course, there is history in which lecture tells you about failure of software projects and so on. Same is the case with the IT project. Initially, especially in 80s and 90s, many projects failed. And the reason behind was basically project management was not considered as a well-defined discipline. In ad hoc fashion, projects were delivered. Maybe the team lead is given the role of project management. He was negotiating with the client. He was the one who was arranging the resources. He was the one who was doing each and everything. Okay, and because of his lack of knowledge, especially I will show you project management framework, he was not able to do each and everything. The predictions were maybe not accurate, and that led to failure of many projects. For example, this is about 1995. 31% of projects were cancelled before completion, which is a big number. Only 16.2% of IT projects were successful, which is a very low percentage. Okay, so and similarly, PricewaterhouseCoopers also provides some statistics that 2.5% of corporation organization basically meet the target which defined in terms of scope, time, and factor. but over a period of time things have changed. And if you search today, there's a report, Pulse of the professions. They said that the success rate has improved. For last few decades it was stagnant, but now it has improved. People, organizations, the projects they define, they deliver in time. Yeah.
That's because I also done a different type of project management. They use not that I use a waterfall anymore.
Okay. Yeah. So methodology. That what I'm saying, that in project everything that you do in a project affect the project. So software development, for example, in RT project, software development was one of the key chunk. And in software development, if you're doing waterfall, it definitely affects the software development, especially if requirements are changing. When waterfall was there, requirements didn't change much. But as we progress in 90s, especially internet, widespread adoption, the requirements changes quickly. Customers were not, the clients were not expecting the change in their business so quickly. So that affected the industry, and industry came up with new models, agile technology, methodology, and so on. So that because of a change in technologies, languages, we saw C#.NET. If you are using MVC entity framework, you see how fast the software development is. Only you need to know how to do it. Okay. So advancement in technologies, advancement in methodologies, increase in personnel skills. People have learned over a period of time. They know what is working and what is not working in the industry. So these things led to today there is a good success rate in IT projects. For example, university every day they may launch, not every day, but on frequent basis they launch IT project. For example, updating a lab, and they estimate, okay, these are the current pieces, we need this number of pieces with, and this is the cost, and they put the order, and they meet all three constraints: scope, time, and cost. Okay, and quality as well. So advantage of using formal project management. As I mentioned previously, there was ad hoc fashion. There was no well-defined role. People who were supposed to do some other jobs, they were given these roles. But with period of time, things have evolved. People understood that in order to better manage their projects, they need well-defined roles. And those roles, basically, for example, to manage the financial aspect, we need the personnel who are good at finance. In order to maintain the assets, which could be humans or physical resources, we need to better manage them. And the people with good knowledge are in position to make use of these advanced softwares, because these advanced softwares, they need a person who knows what they are doing. Okay, so technology has helped these people with formal tools with skilled personnel coupled together leads to better success of the projects. We have specialized software for customer relationship management. Okay, previously, if you look 2 decades ago, no one was thinking about it, because the client, the customer has to purchase something from the local, for example, producer. But now they have choices. So customer relationship management is very important, and customer relationship management systems are being developed, online support, 24-hour support. So these things comes into the play. Again, formal way, well-defined procedures, well-defined role, well-defined tools, and so on. Shorter development times, costs are getting low. Now there are companies who are specialized in certain roles, and they can develop for you very special, very good quality product in lower cost, because they repeatedly doing their task. So, and that also led to higher quality. If some organization is only building shopping carts, so the quality will be high and reliability would be there. And for them, it is for both of them, it will be a win-win situation. For you, you're saving cost. For them, they're getting business. Okay, and they're achieving economies of scales. It will improve productivity for organizations, and within organization, when they are developing their skills, they are bringing in new tools, formal methods, improve coordinations. Okay, the people will know what language they are talking about. Okay, it leads to higher worker morals, and they feel, because of this advancement, they feel the things they are doing, they are right. They will have self-confidence. Okay, and once successful projects build their confidence, and if they keep on delivering the required deliverables within the project, it increases their confidence, and they assume the things they are doing no, they are good. So in short, they get more transparency. They bring more transparency in the process. They get more visibility in the processes. They are able to estimate very well. If you basically all this what you can say, data analytics can be categorized into 3 categories: descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics tells you what is your current state of your organization. Okay, how many orders have been placed, how many orders are being shipped, and so on. So descriptive statistics or analysis give you these insights. Predictive, whatever you have right now, you go and predict the future. Or 5 days, after 5 days, how many orders we are expecting. Okay, and prescriptive analytics is provide solution to a specific solution for a specific problem. For example, if routing is one of the best example. Going from point A to B, what is the best route? So those sort of analytics are prescriptive analytics. So formal methods help organizations to improve them. Some of the examples of IT project listed on this slides, and these are of small scale, but as we know, enterprise level, if we talk about enterprise level projects, they will be of big scales. For example, projects Microsoft is doing, projects like Google is doing, they are of massive scales. They involve teams of, consist of people, maybe hundreds or maybe more than 1,000, okay, and so on. So these are the examples of IT project. For, as I mentioned, upgrading the labs, upgradation of software or developing new softwares, moving from LAN to wireless networks, or maybe incorporating voice or IP technology. So these projects basically objective is to build the capability of the university, and in order to do that, they identify some tasks to be done, and they allocate some funds. They identify a person who is responsible for this, and they give basically authority to that guy, and that guy basically then make use of organization available resources, place the orders, and eventually deliver the project. So project management framework is very important. So as I mentioned previously, there was only master in computer science. Then we have master in IT, master of cybersecurity. Now we have degrees in project management as well. And in those degrees, basically they talk about the theoretical and practical knowledge that people, personnel require in project management. Okay, so in this framework, you can see that we have stakeholders, and we have to take care of their needs and expectations. Okay, so like in software development, stakeholders have a key role, and when we are managing the project, again we have to put them in focus. There are 9 knowledge areas, and they are further divided into core functions and facilitating functions. The core functions, like your core courses, that each one of you have to take those courses. So scope management, time management, cost management, quality management. So in these areas, basically talk about theoretical knowledge of these concepts, how to do schedule, for example, time scheduling, how to manage the cost, how you can calculate, predict, or forecast for the items depending upon what the cost now, and how the cost increase and over period of time, and so on. The rate of change in the currency, etc., etc. What do you mean quality? How quality is defined in IT project? What do you mean quality? Is it only a value on the or return on investment on the made by organization or whatnot? So theoretical knowledge is critical for all the personnel who basically work in the field of project management. And then they come up with specialized skill. Human resource management will know about this, but he's more in managing the people, how to manage the people, how to schedule their activities, developing their rosters, and so on. Similarly, some people would be expert in communication management, some would be in risk management, who basically try to take into account as much information available to reduce the uncertainty in a project, or define the risk profiles. If we go with these things, risk is very high, but if you take these steps, risk profile will be low. The profiling of projects would be done by these personnel, and procurement managers can look at again strategic procurement and those aspects. So these are the knowledge areas that are being taught in project management degrees. So the eventually project manager comes out, they have these skill set. And project integration management, again this is a field in which the senior people who basically have done these stuff, they know how to bring all these together. They know in project what sort of personnel they need, what sort of expert knowledge they require if it is a R&D project, and what sort of people they need, and how to take them together. Okay, and if it is a program, then how different projects can work together and so on. So this is again integration knowledge is critical as well. If they are speaking different languages in terms of concepts, then how to reconcile them. So these are the key nine knowledge areas. Then we have tools and techniques. Tools help them to do all these jobs. The more advanced tool is, the better they can do their activities. So techniques, you can think of processes, framework, methodologies that can take in order to move forward. And these things basically contribute to success of the projects. And successful project basically leads to success of enterprise. And there's always a feedback loop that help these people to learn more, skill building, okay, and so on. So we look at them now in detail. So stakeholders, these are the possible stakeholders that you may need to work with. Project sponsor, project manager, project team, staff member, customer, user, suppliers, and opponents to the project. Who are these guys? These are the ones who basically think that project feasibility is not good. The case you have defined is on assumptions that are not true. Okay, and it will lead to loss. The project definitely will fail. So these are the persons you have to take into consideration, and you have to address their concern, and you have to satisfy the management. The thing they are saying, we have taken care of. We have risk profiles. They are talking about the issues they are talking about. They are risk profile 5, but we are going for risk profile 1, in which we are taking these measures and so on. So knowledge areas, as I mentioned, there are 4 core knowledge areas: scope, time, cost, and quality. And then these are facilitating areas, and the people with these skill set, they basically contribute to success of the project. And then we have one knowledge area, which is project integration, and mostly project managers are the one who basically have developed their career or period of time. They were once working in one of these facilitating area, and then they eventually come up and started doing the job over here, which is bringing all them together, integrating different projects, maybe working as program manager and so on. So all these knowledge areas are important.
Work on from, initially you went from 3 goals to 4, now we've got 4 core areas. Introducing quality.
Yep. So that was triple constraint. People have defined it. Maybe some if you look at literature, there would be some academic or industry people who said these are the triple constraint. Quality is a constraint or not, it depends upon the project. Okay, if it is R&D project, innovative, some innovation, some new idea, or their quality may not be a target you want to achieve. Cost, time, and the scope may be critical. So those are triple constraint, but there are other constraints as well. Quality is also constraint. Okay.
I think I could put an argument that quality should be included in scope, time and cost, not a separate knowledge area.
Yep. If you look, all these contributes to quality. Okay. Quality. How you define a quality? It depends. It varies from project to project. How you define a quality? I said the target could be a quality, and you want to achieve that quality keeping in view time, cost, and scope. Okay. So in that case, triplet. If you basically adhere to that triple constraint, you will achieve quality. Okay. So the quality could be outcome.
But also maybe you don't want good quality. Maybe you're like, say, a company in China, you want to mass produce a lot of cheap
Yeah.
stuff that doesn't have to be good quality.
Yeah.
You want to make more to sell more rather than.
Yeah, because it's scale.
I think of the wheelbarrow when you say manufactured in China.
But they have captured the market. They know their market, and accordingly they develop it.
Somebody sent a wheelbarrow sample, but in transit it was dented, so it had a bump in it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what your orders were.
But it's, in that case, if you understand your customer, you build according to it, and that's the quality which they require. Okay. So China is producing for entire world. For America, for the European countries, the quality would be different, and for Asian countries, the quality would be different.
Also, I think the easier
but they would be applied.
Yeah.
Like I would argue to scope time, to coming up with the scope of time.
And especially if I take you example of Toyota again, initially they were not focusing on quality, they're focusing on scope, time and cost. But once they are able to achieve those three constraints, then they went and look at the quality, okay, include quality now. And then they identify, okay, they come up with this lean methodology. Okay, in this process, how we can identify, okay, these are the fluctuations in the process, how we can reduce these fluctuations. These fluctuations because of lack of these resources. Okay, ensure before start of the project that we have these resources. So this is how they come up with this lean methodology. So they bring in quality factor as well. Okay. I think we can take 10 minutes break and then we'll start with project management tools and techniques. Okay. Let me stop the recording.